day-to-day thing. But then all of a sudden something clicked. I'm going to try this. Maybe they weren't educated. Maybe moms and dads didn't talk about it enough. I don't know. But, again, that's all individual person. A lot of people say that DARE doesn't work because the kids are still going to go out and do it. And it is what it is, you know what I mean? But they, so, like I said, I think it all goes back to the individual person. I don't think you can weigh it on just a family, because some really great families are affected by this, and it's a shame. Some people that would really cater to their loved ones, you know. Any other questions? I saw your hand up.
I was just wondering if people still use acid.
Acid?
Acid.
Yep, they do. Can you name some of the street names for acid? You remember some of them?
I remember like California Sunshine, Sid.
Very good. So acid's LSD, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and people still do use it. Not too long ago, I found acid on somebody while I was on the street, working on the street. And I don't like telling all these war stories because I don't want you guys to think that Pine Hill is a crazy, crazy place. You know what I mean? But we have great people in Pine Hill. But just like anywhere else, we also have some bad people, right?
Our whole town is a joint?
That's not true. That's not true. But there's some great people in Pine Hill, and then there's some bad people in Pine Hill, just like anywhere. And I have relatives that live in Haddonfield. That's supposed to be like a rich neighborhood, right? You wouldn't imagine anything bad would happen there, right?
Yeah, but with rich people, they can afford the expensive drugs.
Very good, very good. So a lot of times we're not finding the cheap drugs in Haddonfield or places that maybe are more wealthy, right? What are they finding? The enhanced drug, the bigger drugs, right? So I'll share a story from my life that I immediately got myself out of a situation that could have been pretty bad, right? So I was at a get-together with some friends when I was younger, and I was working up in Greenwich, Connecticut. I was working in a company that did like an outward bound type thing. So we would bring kids on these adventures, and we'd bring them rock climbing and hiking and so on and so forth. So Greenwich, Connecticut is the second most desirable place to live in the world. It's absolutely gorgeous. Great place. So the counselors and I, we all got together and we hung out. Come on, let's all hang out tonight. Let's sit around, do nothing. One girl said, yeah, come on, we could all use my house. Well, for one thing, I had to Google how to get to her house because I'm not from that area, right? I grew up down here. Well, when I Googled her house, has anybody ever used Google before, Google Maps? Mm-hmm. You know how you can view something and then zoom out? Mm-hmm. I had to zoom out 3 times to see her whole house on the screen. It was enormous. And when I got there, it fit the bill. It was huge. I walked in, we're hanging out, we're all having a great time, and all of a sudden, one of the counselors, the girl who lived there, she said, come outside, I want to show you my dad's car. I'm like, cool, I'll look at a car, it's very cool. We go outside, it's a brand new Mercedes, and it is gorgeous. Great car, you can tell it's probably never used that much, it probably sits in the garage most of the time. But on that car, she had this white stuff all there, it was cocaine. And she said, well, we could use this real quick. I just cut it up on the car because it's shiny, and it was easier for her to cut up there. I was like, no way. Why would I do that, And luckily, one of her friends that actually knew her pulled her aside and said, hey, listen, we had no idea this is what's been wrong with you. And eventually got that girl some help. But in the richest of neighborhoods, and I experienced it, I only grew up here in Belmar, right around the corner from Pine Hill. And that's not the richest of neighborhoods without a doubt. I went to Vokey, right over here for high school. I was an engineering student, and I was around some of not so nice people, but then I was around some of the richy rich people. And there's always the same that goes on. No matter where you go, these drugs are affecting people's lives and making things worse for them. Any other questions?
No, I was just saying, you were just talking about different neighborhoods. My aunt moved to Westville a while ago, and we'd come home one day, and she and my husband were playing outside, and they kept finding these little teeny baggies all over the place. And they had like words on them, so they were bringing me.
I hate those bags.
They kind of comes to me and like, look what that found, and I'm like, holy
You had
crap.
white powder.
No, there was no powder in it, but it was like, I was like, holy crap. So we called the police.
There was powder in one.
And
Do you know the legit reason for those bags?
Easy sale.
Well, without a doubt. But coin collectors use those bags.
Oh,
They're
the
coins.
yeah.
You know?
Well, they were even littler than that. They weren't very big, but I worked in Camden, so I was kind of very streetwise. So I'm like, you're letting your daughter play with heroin bags. Is that a really good idea? And he's like, that's what they are? Like, we had no idea.
Residue sits on those bags.
Right,
you
so
know, and
I called the police and they came and scoured the yard.
can we absorb anything off those bags with our
Sure.
fingers?
I would think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we weren't opening them.
So as you touch some dirt, right, it gets on your finger. If it sits on your finger, if you don't wash your hands, then you go eat something real quick because you're not thinking about it, right? And you eat something, you put that in your mouth. Well, you just had all over your hands, gets all over that thing that you're eating, right? You think that goes in your body then? Absolutely. It might not get you high. You might not have like a crazy side effect to it because it's such a little amount. But do you think it affects your body over time? Does that maybe take off a year of your life right there? Just because you're playing with these baggies that some jerk left out for anybody to grab? You know, could you imagine a little baby walking down the street with their parents and they're just learning how to walk and they pick it up and they just pop it in their mouth? You know how babies, how quickly they put things in their mouth, right? I'd say it really is a shame. It really is. Where did you work out in Camden?
At the port, at the marine terminal,
Oh,
Becker
really?
Street.
Okay. I used to work at Cooper Hospital.
Oh, okay.
So I was a tech in the ER. I've had quite a few jobs in my
Exciting job.
my amount of years. So in the ER, how many think overdoses came in a day, daily?
30.
30? Yeah, not so high, but a little bit lower. So daily, on a daily basis, in my 12-hour shift when I'd be working there, you'd see about 5 a day. About 5 a day, and that was a lot from everything else that's going on. And that's not even the people. You got to remember, there's multiple other hospitals in Camden, so they're not all coming to Cooper Hospital's ER. Only the serious ones are coming to Cooper's ER. And you're pumping on these people's chest, so on and so forth. And what do you have to worry about when you're doing that? There's needles, right?
Oh,
They're everywhere. I can't tell you how many times I saw nurses, good people, good doctors, get stuck with needles. All because of it. And unfortunately, most people that use needles, they have some other issues going on too, with diseases and stuff like that, which is another fun part. Not only if we all get together and sit around this table and share a needle, are we all going to go throw up later on, but we're also probably all going to get the same disease. But that's appealing to some people, which is just crazy. So, any other questions, comments?
Yeah, marijuana stinks.
Marijuana
It smells.
stinks.
The smell. I mean, I'm sitting
does.
down at a picnic table, teenager. The joint comes out. I'm telling you, it stinks. I was out of there, my boyfriend got me out of there, but even so, it does. It stinks to high heaven.
It does. It does.
You can distinguish a joint from a cigarette a mile away.
Oh, without a doubt. And do you think that maybe we cover that up with some perfume, right? That'll cover it up. Has anybody ever smelled spilled gas before? You smelled that before, right? You go into a gas station? Well, have you ever tried to spray in your car or anything like that? Maybe one around that gas station, or if you spill a little bit of gas maybe in your car, if you have a gas kit in there. Doesn't get rid of it, right? It stays there. Now you have a nice smell mixed in with the gasoline smell. It's the same with marijuana. That smell's always there. And something that's incredible is the way dogs pick it up. So dogs, we have canines that work with us that are drug dogs, right?
Yeah, I really was hoping we could get one here today, but we really couldn't.
Maybe next time we can. I'm very close with both of our canine officers. They're very good friends of mine. And maybe we could bring them in one day. One's name is Sergeant Witz, and the other one's name is Patrolman Harron. Patrolman Harron's getting ready to graduate with his deck now. But the way dogs smell, so when you smell something, do you just smell, like let's talk about beef stew, right? So when you smell beef stew, you smell just that entire beef stew, right?
Yeah.
You can come through the house and, man, there's some beef stew over on the counter. Can you smell the carrots that are in there? Can you smell the celery that's in there? Can you smell the chicken that's in there? Or the beef that's in there? How about the broth that's all made up with it? Or the bread?
Just a stew.
Just the stew, right? But dogs are awesome. Dogs could smell that individual smell, that carrot that's coming from there, that celery, that beef.
someone put a drug in there, you could smell that.
And of course, and they're trained to smell those, but drugs, their dogs smell things differently than us. They smell the individual scent. They don't smell just the entirety that makes up that whole. Questions, comments from anybody? Go ahead.
Like a couple of days ago, we were going to like put change into like some change things, whatever it's called. But like this guy didn't have any change, so he yelled, and the girlfriend was like, he don't have no money, so he's gonna leave him. So she walked away, and when he's like, hey, Darlene, I got the change. He was pretty much a junkie, you could tell, because he was all.
And that scares us, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be around those people.
Eventually, he got in a car accident because he kept swerving.
And we definitely don't want to be around those people. And that scares us. We always think about the negative people when we think about the things that are out there in the world. Well, we also have to think about the positives. When I first went to the schools as the school resource officer, being put in there Monday through Friday, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know what I was about to encounter. And I thought that every single kid was going to be this kid that was out of control, a pain in the butt, and I was going to have tons of issues with. But I found out that a lot of these kids just are looking for a friend. They're looking for somebody to talk to. Maybe they didn't get it at home, so they would stop down at my office and say, hey, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? And I would just start talking to them. And now I know almost every kid in that school because they all come down and they all talk to me, even the bad ones. You would call them bad, but some of them are just misguided, So there's all different people out there, and you shouldn't be afraid of that person, because in this room, how many are there? Say about 10 people, right? Are there any bad people in here that are going to hurt us? Well, we're definitely outweighing that one person that's out there that's that junkie, as we call him, right? That's why we don't even think about him when we go out. Yeah, there might be somebody that I encounter, but I know how I'm going to encounter him. If he comes up to me and he says, hey, why don't you smoke this joint with me? You just say no, right? Any other questions or anything?
I think it's pretty bad. It's actually gotten to the point where you have to be out of school.
Yes and no. See, I agree that it seems bad that there's a police officer at the school, right? Well, I also think it's a positive thing to have a police officer at the school, because I'm getting to know people that are younger ages. I'm getting to be a part of their life and to show them that the police aren't only a consequence, but we can be there to help. We can be there to guide. We have resources that we can use that sometimes we might not know about. As I pass that house, one in the morning, I pass by, I see the lights on, I say, it's a little weird, somebody's up at 1 a.m. All right, but their door's shut, and they seem like they're safe, there's no 911s coming from that house, no problems, all right. Well, really, someone's sitting in there getting high. I can't help them because I don't see them, right? Well, being in the school, I get to interact with them daily. I get to see what's going on in their life. I get to talk to them. As they walk in the door every single morning, I stand there and I say hello and good morning to each and every student that comes through. Say hello, good morning, hello, good morning, as they all pass me by. Because I want them to start their day with that positive interaction, right? I want them to see, oh, that's Officer Orwell, all right. If I have a problem, I can come to him. He's actually a nice guy. He's not going to yell at me. He's not going to scold me. And that's why I like being in the schools. That's why I like interacting with those people. A little different, right? So it does seem like, oh man, schools are getting out of hand. But then on the other side, I think it's a positive thing to have one of us in there, not necessarily me. Anything else anybody else has? Well, that's all I have, and I want to really thank you guys for letting us come out. Chief Winters, I know, is ecstatic that we came out here, and we definitely want to come out and help again. If there's anything else that ever comes up, feel free. I know I gave you my number, right? Mm-hmm. That number is the school resource officer number. And if I had more cards, they go out like crazy, like hotcakes. I would give them to everybody here. All the kids pick them up as they come to my office. I want Officer Rella's card, I want Officer Rella's card. And they'll keep them in their pocket. And they keep them in their pocket, and I'll end on this story because of an incident that happened when I was a DARE student. So when I was a DARE student, I always share with my students, when I was a DARE student, I had a friend that got into trouble. So that friend got into trouble. He was at a party, and there was some alcohol and some drug use, and he wanted out. He wanted to get away, right? So he was afraid to call his mom. He was afraid to call his dad. He was afraid to call a friend because they all thought that they would judge him, Why are you at this party? in the first place. You know, you're in trouble. Don't call the police because then you're going to get in trouble with everybody. So we called the